There are symbols so powerful that once seen they can never be forgotten. They linger in our minds, raising questions that refuse to fade. One such symbol is Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, a simple yet mesmerizing drawing of a man, arms and legs outstretched, encased within a circle and a square. At first glance it appears to be a study of human proportions. But what if it is something more? What if this inked figure holds a hidden message, a key to understanding the universe, the human body, and the connection between the two? Today we embark on a journey to unravel the true meaning behind this Renaissance enigma. Symbols have shaped human thought for centuries. Some images capture our minds so profoundly that they leave us questioning their true meaning. Among these, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man stands as one of the most recognizable and mysterious, a simple drawing, yet filled with layers of hidden knowledge. It has fascinated scholars, artists, and scientists for generations. What makes it so special? Why did da Vinci create it? And does it serve a purpose beyond illustrating human proportions? At first glance, the Vitruvian Man appears to be a straightforward anatomical study, a depiction of the ideal human body, but a deeper look reveals that it is much more. It represents a bridge between art, science, philosophy, and mathematics. Da Vinci was not just an artist, he was a visionary, a man who saw reality as an interconnected web of knowledge. Every stroke in this drawing is deliberate, every line placed with purpose, the circle and the square, the outstretched limbs, and the perfect proportions. Each element is a clue, leading us toward a deeper truth. To uncover its meaning, we must step back in time, not just to the Renaissance but even further to ancient Rome. The inspiration for this masterpiece comes from a Roman architect named Vitruvius, who believed that the human body was the key to perfect design. His ideas about proportion and symmetry would later influence da Vinci, who sought to bring them to life in his legendary drawing. But what exactly did Vitruvius propose, and how did his vision shape one of the most famous sketches in history? To answer these questions, we must begin our journey at the very foundation of architectural philosophy, the origins of the Vitruvian Man. To fully understand the Vitruvian Man, we must travel back more than 2,000 years to the days of the Roman Republic. In the 1st century BC, a Roman architect, engineer, and military strategist named Marcus Vitruvius Pollio introduced a revolutionary idea that architecture should not be based merely on aesthetics but on strict mathematical proportions. He argued that harmony in design must reflect the harmony found in nature, and more specifically in the human body. Vitruvius compiled his knowledge into a 10-book treatise called De Architectura, the most comprehensive work on architecture from antiquity. In this text he proposed that the ideal structures, whether temples, public buildings, or private homes, should be based on symmetry and proportion, concepts that he believed could be best understood by studying the human form. His argument was simple: just as the body has an inherent balance in its limbs, joints, and measurements, architecture must follow the same principles to achieve perfection. One of his most famous statements reads, "No temple can be harmonious if its proportions are not derived from the human body." He believed that just as nature follows mathematical rules, so too must architecture. If a structure was designed using the same proportions as the human body, it would become an extension of the universe's natural order. But what did this mean in practice? Imagine a grand Roman temple, its columns, archways, and layout carefully measured to reflect the ideal human body proportions. The goal was to create buildings that not only stood strong but also felt instinctively perfect to the human eye. This philosophy was not just about construction, it was deeply rooted in the belief that humanity itself was a reflection of cosmic harmony. Vitruvius was not alone in this thinking. Many ancient cultures, from the Egyptians to the Greeks, held similar views. The Pythagoreans believed that mathematics governed everything, and the Egyptians used precise ratios in the construction of their pyramids. Centuries later, during the Renaissance, these ancient ideas found a new audience. Leonardo da Vinci, always in pursuit of knowledge, came across Vitruvius's treatise and became fascinated with the concept of the human body as a blueprint for design. If Vitruvius was correct, then the body was not just flesh and bone, it was a microcosm of the universe itself. Inspired by this vision, da Vinci set out to create a visual representation of this idea, one that would bring the words of the Roman architect to life. The result was the Vitruvian Man, a drawing that would forever change the way we perceive art, science, and human potential. But if Da Vinci only wanted to illustrate architectural proportions, why did he place the man inside a circle and a square? What was he trying to convey through these shapes? To answer that, we must explore the deeper symbolism hidden within the geometry of his masterpiece. Mathematics and the universal blueprint. For centuries, civilizations have sought to understand the hidden order of the universe. Many turned to mathematics, believing that numbers were not just tools for measurement but the very fabric of reality itself. This idea became the foundation for sacred geometry, a field that explores how mathematical proportions shape the world around us. At the heart of this concept lies the golden ratio, a mathematical sequence that appears in nature, art, and architecture, a pattern so perfect that it has been considered the key to divine harmony. The ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans all applied these principles in their greatest creations. The Egyptians used the golden ratio in the design of their pyramids, ensuring that their structures reflected the proportions found in nature. The Greeks took this idea even further, embedding mathematical perfection into their sculptures, temples, and art. The Parthenon, for example, was built using these ratios, creating a sense of balance that was both visually appealing and structurally sound. One of the earliest thinkers to recognize the power of numbers was Pythagoras, the ancient Greek mathematician and philosopher. He famously declared that everything is number, suggesting that mathematics was not just a human invention but a universal language that governed all things. His followers, the Pythagoreans, believed that numbers held mystical properties and that the secrets of existence could be unlocked through geometric patterns. They saw mathematical harmony as a reflection of the cosmos itself. Centuries later, during the Renaissance, these ancient ideas resurfaced. Scholars and artists sought to revive the lost knowledge of antiquity, blending it with new discoveries. Among them was Leonardo da Vinci, a man fascinated by the intersection of science, art, and mathematics. As he studied the human body, he discovered that its proportions aligned perfectly with the mathematical ratios described by Vitruvius and Pythagoras. If these proportions existed within the human form, Da Vinci reasoned, then the body was not just a biological structure, it was a blueprint of the universe itself. This realization led him to create the Vitruvian Man, a visual representation of how the body adheres to mathematical laws. But his drawing was more than just a study of proportion, it hinted at something even deeper, a hidden code embedded in the very structure of existence. And to fully understand that code, we must examine the geometric symbols at the heart of Da Vinci's masterpiece, the circle and the square. Symbolism of the circle and square. At first glance, the Vitruvian Man seems like a simple representation of human proportions, but a closer look reveals two fundamental shapes that frame the figure, the circle and the square. These shapes are not random, they carry profound symbolic meanings that date back to ancient philosophy and mysticism. The square represents the material world, the realm of the physical, the structured and the rational. It is associated with earth, stability, and logic. In philosophy, it signifies order and human-made constructs, a symbol of civilization, science, and the tangible aspects of existence. The square is rigid, defined, and confined within clear boundaries. In contrast, the circle symbolizes the spiritual realm, the infinite, the divine, and the eternal. Unlike the square, the circle has no beginning and no end, making it a representation of wholeness, unity, and cosmic movement. It embodies the idea of the soul, enlightenment, and connection to something greater than the physical world. Throughout history, these two shapes have been used in esoteric and philosophical traditions to represent the duality of existence. Many belief systems recognize the struggle between matter and spirit, order and chaos, the finite and the infinite. The Hermetic principle of as above so below teaches that man is a reflection of the universe, and the universe is a reflection of man. By placing a human figure within both a square and a circle, Da Vinci was visually expressing this very idea. But what does this mean on a deeper level? By drawing the Vitruvian Man in two positions, one aligned with the square and one with the circle, Da Vinci was illustrating the dual nature of humanity. The man inside the square represents our physical, earthly existence, bound by limitations, logic, and structure. The man inside the circle represents our spiritual potential, free from constraints, connected to the infinite. This fusion of scientific and mystical thought is what makes the Vitruvian Man so remarkable. Da Vinci was not just confirming Vitruvius's architectural theories, he was revealing something far greater, that human beings are the bridge between the material and the divine. His drawing was not just about proportion, it was a philosophical statement about the nature of existence itself. But Da Vinci didn't stop there. He introduced another element that makes this drawing even more fascinating, the illusion of movement. If we closely observe the Vitruvian Man, we see that his arms and legs shift positions, as if he is transitioning between two states. This subtle detail is not accidental. It carries a message about evolution, transformation, and the limitless potential of the human spirit. And that is where the true mystery begins. Motion and transformation in the drawing. At first glance, the Vitruvian Man appears to be a static image, an elegant study of proportions, but a closer look reveals something intriguing. The figure seems to be in motion. His arms and legs exist in two different positions at once, creating the illusion of movement. This was not a mistake or an artistic flourish, it was a deliberate message, a visual metaphor for human transformation and evolution. This dual positioning represents a transition from one state to another. The overlapping limbs suggest that humanity is not static, we are constantly evolving, physically, intellectually, and spiritually. This concept of transformation aligns with the ancient principles of alchemy, the mystical practice that sought to transmute base metals into gold. But alchemy was never just about physical substances, it was also about spiritual transmutation, the process of refining the human soul from an imperfect state to enlightenment. In this sense, the Vitruvian Man embodies the journey of self-improvement. The figure within the square represents our earthly nature, physical existence, logic, and structure. The circle, on the other hand, symbolizes spiritual transcendence, intuition, and the infinite. The man caught between these two shapes is neither fully material nor fully divine. He is in transition, caught between the two realms, striving for balance. This idea of transformation is not unique to Western thought. Eastern traditions such as yoga and tantra describe a similar process through the concept of kundalini energy. According to this belief, an energy force lies dormant at the base of the spine, and through spiritual practice it can rise through the chakras, transforming the practitioner and leading to enlightenment. The movement in Da Vinci's drawing mirrors this process, the expansion of human potential through knowledge, growth, and awareness. Da Vinci's own scientific studies reinforce this theme. He was one of the first to explore the mechanics of the human body, dissecting cadavers to understand muscles, movement, and proportions. He saw the body not as a rigid structure, but as a dynamic system capable of change and adaptation. The Vitruvian Man, in this sense, is not just a portrait of the ideal human, it is a representation of what humanity can become. The hidden meaning behind the drawing Leonardo da Vinci was more than just an artist. He was a thinker who sought to unify art, science, and philosophy into a single cohesive understanding of reality. The Vitruvian Man is perhaps his greatest example of this effort. On the surface it is a study of proportions, but beneath that lies a bridge between technical knowledge and spiritual wisdom. There are deep esoteric connections embedded in this drawing. Many of its principles align with Hermeticism, an ancient philosophy that describes the universe as interconnected and governed by hidden laws. The Freemasons and Rosicrucians, both mystical societies that sought hidden knowledge, also shared similar beliefs about geometry, symbolism, and the human form as a divine creation. One of the most profound ideas hidden within the Vitruvian Man is the concept of the human body as a temple. This belief is found across various traditions, from Neoplatonism to Christian mysticism. In many spiritual teachings, the temple was designed to mirror the proportions of the human body, just as the human body mirrors the structure of the cosmos. This is why cathedrals, pyramids, and sacred sites often follow the same proportions that Da Vinci explored in his drawing. The connection between the golden ratio and nature further strengthens this idea. The same mathematical proportions found in the Vitruvian Man appear throughout the natural world, in the spiral of a seashell, the branching of trees, the structure of galaxies. Da Vinci understood this universal pattern and used it as a foundation for his work.
His message was clear: humanity is not separate from nature or the cosmos, we are a reflection of it. But perhaps the greatest mystery of all is Da Vinci's silence. He never left behind an explicit explanation of what the Vitruvian Man truly meant. Some believe this was intentional, an invitation for future generations to seek the truth for themselves. If that was indeed his goal, then he succeeded. To this day his drawing continues to inspire scientists, philosophers, and seekers of knowledge. The legacy of the Vitruvian Man. The Vitruvian Man is far more than an anatomical study. It is a symbol, a code that connects humanity to the universe. Through its perfect proportions, hidden geometry, and mystical implications, it challenges us to ask deeper questions. Who are we? What is our place in the cosmos, and how can we reach our full potential? Da Vinci's ultimate lesson is that truth is not found in books, theories, or institutions, it is found within us. Just as his drawing shows a figure expanding beyond the limits of the square, we too must push beyond our own boundaries, intellectually, creatively, and spiritually. The pursuit of knowledge and self-improvement is a lifelong journey, one that echoes through time, just as Da Vinci intended. The Vitruvian Man remains one of history's greatest riddles. But perhaps its true purpose is not to provide answers, but to inspire us to continue searching.